The Outside Child, The Favorite Son, Her Secret Life, All the Things I Should Have Known. These are just a few titles that come from my dope friend, author Tiffany Warren. Tiffany is a happily married mother of 5. She has a technology degree and considers herself a nerd. I thought that was hilarious when I read that. She started writing when she was 14, but publishing is still new to her. She is happy that she has the opportunity to pursue her dreams, and her books can currently be found on Amazon. But where else? Are they anywhere else besides Amazon?
They're everywhere. It's just easiest, I think, to find some of the older titles on Amazon, but they're like in Target, Walmart, Barnes and Noble. They're everywhere books are sold. But like for the older ones, you can find them mostly on Amazon.
Okay, that's what's up. So I know you personally, but I just want to introduce you to my fans, right? Or my followers, as I should say. And I've always thought to myself, like when I see you in action, I'm just like, how does she do it? Like, how do you do all of this? You are a wife, you are a mom, you working full time, which kills me. I still don't understand that. And you're writing. So how do you do all of this? How do you find the time to balance it?
And so it's funny, Davida. People ask me this question all the time, and honestly, the answer is you make time for the stuff that's important to you. You prioritize the things that you really want to do, and not writing is not a thing that's a reality to me. Like, that's a non-negotiable. Writing is mandatory. So I actually just posted on Instagram the other day, I don't write in my free time. I free my time to write. Because there are things that, it's a lot of stuff that we do that we don't necessarily realize are time wasters that are, like laundry. No, I'm joking. But honestly, my kids will tell you, as them growing up, writing has always been a part of their lives too. And they know that I am not necessarily the mom that's going to bake 5 dozen, of cupcakes to bring it up to the school. I'm going to bring some. They're going to be from the grocery store. But I'm not that kind of mom. I'm not the, go on field trip mom. I don't have time for that. I have to write. And they, my family has benefited from the fruits of my labor. So writing is a part of all of our lives. And that's really the way that I can get it done. If I didn't have rent support, my husband and my kids, my children have been doing dishes since they could stand up at the sink. A lot of moms feel like, I've got to, there are kids that I talk to, their moms are making their beds and they in middle school. Excuse me, what? At some point, my children really kicked in, and, my oldest daughter was changing diapers for the young ones. I was nursing Brooke when I started my first book tour. So it's been a part of the entire household's life. It's just not a journey that I'm on by myself. And that's really what makes it work.
Okay, well, that sounds good. Like, I love the fact that you say you free your time to write. And that's something that I guess is a challenge for me as well, because I'm trying to do so many different things. I'm really trying to follow the visions that are given to me and not just hold on to them. And I feel like I'm acting on everything. And so I consider myself a planner girl. I knock out my planner, but new this year, I actually started plotting out time. So I'm plotting time to, film and edit. I'm plotting time to plan a pageant. I'm plotting time for workshops, things like that. So I'm glad you said that. That really brought some reality to it. It kind of confirmed what I'm already doing. So that's great. Because, we got a lot of rugrats running around here, too.
Yes. So, they are a lot.
Yeah, being a mom is a lot. It's a lot. There's no other way to say it. It's a lot. So, so when you're thinking about writing, where do you find inspiration for your books? Like, do you, when you're like with family and friends and they're telling you a story or something like that, do you kind of use that as inspiration and kind of just make it bigger, make it come to life? Or do you have dreams of different things? Like, where do you find your inspiration?
I find inspiration everywhere, Davita. Like, so my friends are always scared they're gonna read about themselves in my book. I always tell them that I would change the names in places and times to protect the innocent or guilty. But I typically don't like draw, directly from my friends' lives. But I will say, things that go on with my friends and family are influencers. I've got a lot of single girlfriends, and so when I was writing all the things I should have known and all the things I've meant to tell you, I kind of drew from their dating struggles. Like, I married Brent when I was in my mid-20s, so I don't really remember, dating and the knuckleheads. Like I don't remember all of that,
Yeah.
but listening to their stories, and especially about dating, in your 40s, because the women in these books are older and they're trying to, they're successful women. They're trying to figure out how to, date and not lower their standards and still have everything that they want. And that, that's not something that I'm intimately familiar with. So I had to use some of the things that they've told me over the years, and but I definitely mix it up so they can't say, okay, now you done wrote Twyla about me and I don't appreciate it. No, they don't have none of that.
Now that is hilarious. That's funny. So just like music, I find that books have a different genres, or your writing style. Like, how would you describe that?
So my genre right now is women's fiction, which it doesn't mean that men can't read it, but it's really central on the struggles of women in our lives. And, it's centered a lot in, not really young women, in their 20s, just women who have already come of age and who have real life struggles that we can relate to. So in the past, I've written faith-based fiction, and that was my primary genre that was, centered in a lot of things that were going on in the church. The characters had a faith journey that, came out across the pages. I still have faith, infused in my books because that's a part of who I am. Right. So I don't know that I can write a book that didn't have, an element of faith. But it's more away from the faith-based genre is almost limiting as a writer because there's a lot that you can't do. Your faith-based readers don't necessarily want to read about, a woman who got assaulted at, a sex club in Atlanta. They don't want to read that. They're like, what you doing?
Right.
But, it's been a journey for me, going from one genre to the next, because it's been the natural evolution of me as a writer. So I started out when I first started writing, I had just started going to church. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. I didn't know anything about church. I went to church. I didn't know none of the songs. I'm sitting up there clapping. Everybody know the words. I didn't know nothing. And, so I was new to church. So my early books were a reflection of what, all these new experiences that I was having, being around church women, parts of women's ministries. It was totally different than how I was raised. So that's what you see in my early books. Then, the progression of me as a woman with adult friendships, because, I was a young mom with back-to-back kids. So I didn't really have a lot of female friendships because I was consumed with diapers and bottles and babies. And so then, cultivating those female friendships that, sometimes are great, sometimes go sour. So the natural progression of my life is kind of what you see in the where I start to, take a look at different things. My two most recent books are really centered in sisterhood and women's friendships, because I would say over the past maybe 10 years or so, I've made some really, tight bonds with women that I didn't really have a lot of female friends as a younger woman. I had a lot of guy friends. And so, now, building those bonds and having sisters, girls trips and just those things where you can connect with other women that are like-minded and who can help bring you up. that's a whole new like subject area in my book.
Right. It definitely shows growth. Like you said, it's like we progress through life and things just change. You don't necessarily have those same types of friendships that you did, in teenage years or college years or anything like that. You mentioned sisterhood. Are you a part of a sorority?
No, I'm not. And what's funny is my two recent books, they both have a fictional sorority called Gamma Phi Gamma.
Okay.
And I have so many friends who are AKAs and Deltas and Zetas and Sigma Gamma Rhos. Y'all, I love it. I just love the, camaraderie. I love when it's everybody's Founders Day and y'all all shouting out at you. I love it so much. I didn't go to college. I didn't go away to college as a young woman. My college journey was different, and so I didn't get that opportunity. I don't know if I would have been a sorority type back then because, again, remember I told you all my friends were guys, and I really wasn't into the whole. I remember I went to Heights, and they had a sorority that they did at the high school, and they tried to get me to pledge. I was like, I mean, what now? What y'all call? Like, it was, I just was not interested. But now, as an adult
that's
woman,
hilarious.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. I love it. So that's why I created Gamma Phi Gamma, because so many of my friends are in their sororities and they love their sororities, and I love that sisterhood. I love it. So, but no, I'm not. But I do enjoy watching all of the Black Greek, everything. I give to a lot of their,
it's amazing, but it's not too late, Tiffany. It's not too late.
I know. People keep telling me that.
Thank you for tuning in to part 1 of my Dope Friends interview with author Tiffany L. Warren. While you're here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for part 2.